As we've said for nearly a decade, cheap residence and citizenship deals rarely last, and today I'm going to share with you 3 countries where the price of citizenship is going up in 2022. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. This is Nomad Capitalist. We are the channel and the company that helps 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. And what I've been saying for years is when you have a successful residence or citizenship program, you may see the price go up, the number of options restricted, the people who can get into the program restricted, programs closed entirely. We've been talking about that going back to 2013. But right now I want to share with you 3 programs that are going to become at least potentially more expensive in 2022. 2 Caribbean citizenship by investment programs and 1 European residence by investment program, often known as a golden visa. Let's start in the Caribbean, where St. Lucia, a process that I went through about 4 years ago, has had, in addition to the $100,000 donation, which is tied for being the cheapest donation for a single applicant. Okay, makes sense more for single people. They have also had a bond program, which didn't make a lot of sense up until last year, when they said instead of $500,000, we're going to bump it down to $250,000, so half-price bond investment. The bonds don't pay any interest. You still have to pay on top of that a $30,000 processing fee. But at St. Lucia, which has become somewhat of a laggard in terms of visa-free travel, in terms of promoting itself, it is not quite as interesting as an option as it was back when I did it 4 years ago. And it put them in competition with some of the more expensive programs where you said, well, I'm thinking of doing this one over here for $130 or $150. Hey, I can just pay $30,000 and tie up some money in bonds, generally for 5 or 6 years. Now, we did the math, and depending on the situation, it seems like you were generally having to return about 5.5%, 6% on your money over the course of the time period, to where it became a bad deal. And so if you're in cryptocurrency, you're not going to do this deal. St. Lucia is not the most friendly anyway for people in cryptocurrency. But if you just had cash sitting around, it was worth at least thinking about. Now, could they keep that 250 number in place? Possibly. There is nothing as permanent as a temporary discount on Caribbean citizenship by investment. We've seen that going back to about 2017, 2018. However, in January of 22, the bond investment is slated to go back up to the $500,000 level. Could they keep it at the 250? Or in some cases 300, it's quite possible. That was one program that was introduced with an expiration date. They may or may not take that off the table. So if you're interested in that, time is a ticking. You're going to want to get your documents together like today and get started on that one. The other one that, again, may or may not be changed, but as of right now is slated to change, is St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, if you are single, same kind of person who might be interested in St. Lucia at the donation level, the donation in St. Kitts and Nevis has been appealing to folks who want a little bit more visa-free travel, who have some crypto transactions, who like the idea of being able to live in a country with no tax, either personal or corporate. Now, what people often don't understand is you could be a citizen of St. Lucia and then have the rights to go and spend time in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so you always want to evaluate which passport you need before you spend more. What St. Kitts did a while back was say, you know what, we're going to have a, again, temporary deal where instead of charging a family of 4 $195,000, we're going to charge the family of 4 the same price as a single. It's like 4 for the price of 1, similar to what Antigua had been doing for some time. And so you were basically saving, if you had a family of 4, if you had a spouse, if you had a couple of kids, you're saving $45,000. That is slated to go away in mid-January of 22. And so if you're single, you don't have a lot to worry about. Such as, if you're doing St. Lucia and you just want to make the donation, you don't have a lot to worry about because the bond option wasn't for you. St. Kitts, if you're a family, that deal may be going away. St. Kitts has actually been an interesting deal. We've had families with, 8 and 10 people. That's actually been a very interesting option in many cases. So that's been a way to save $45,000. If you're interested, again, it does take some time to get the paperwork together. Some people we've talked to on this very channel have said it's taken them a year to get paperwork together. It shouldn't take you anywhere near that long if you have somebody professional helping you. And so we'll look at 2, 3, 4 months in many cases. But you want to get that done. You want to get that filed before the mid-January date. Now, in Portugal, in Europe, the golden visa, which we've talked about, is changing the rules. investment into investment funds going from 350,000 euros to 500,000 euros. I've had a lot of people who are really pushing because, again, you want to be in, you want to get started on that. The whole process of all the things you need to do with your banking and your tax IDs and all that, making the investment, moving the money. You really wanted to be getting started in mid-September, if not the end of September. So these are all things where you really want to get moving in these. And you can certainly email Nomad Capitalist if you want some advice on that at help@nomadcapitalist.com. But Portugal, investment fund going up. We have a few people who've said, hey, you know what, I'm happy to invest more money. I'll invest the 500,000 euros because unlike in the Caribbean, when you make a donation, in Portugal, you are actually making an investment. It's going to be locked up in this investment fund for a while, but it could be something that's actually profitable, and they have a pretty good tax regime on that. Now, other investments, like the real estate option, many of the real estate investments are simply going away. And so we've got a couple people right now that we are pushing. You got to choose your property because, again, you got to close on the property, you have to transfer, move the money, all that kind of stuff, and then file as a result of making the investment. Whereas the Caribbean options, you will send them the money after you're approved. In the case of Portugal, you have to make the investment and then apply. And so they have been a little slower lately. When you're approved is not the issue, it's just when you apply. And so these are three programs where the price is going up. And again, in the case of Portugal, they're simply saying, oh, you want to buy that property in the middle of Lisbon? Not so fast. Middle of Porto? Not so fast. Right on the most popular beach? No, we don't want you to do that because we don't need to drive more investment into that area. And so I do think that out of the Caribbean options, it's possible that one of the discounts will be extended. But if you need to get that second passport quickly, as in the case of the Caribbean, I wouldn't leave it to chance. Now, in Europe, Portugal is not a citizenship by investment program. It's a residence by investment program. You're going to get citizenship in the same timeline as anyone else who went and worked there, got a job, what have you. You just don't have to be there. You don't have to be there paying taxes. You don't have to meet all the other criteria in order to be naturalized in the future. But do understand, these three things are all going up in price. We've seen other golden visas in Europe, such as Ireland, over the years, that have said, this requirement, in the case of Ireland, was real estate. Too easy, we're bringing in too many people, we don't want to bother. We've seen other programs, tighten things up. You have seen programs like Greece add or talk about adding new options, but generally speaking, prices go up. Those are three that if you want to get started, I would be literally doing it today. And so if you need some help, feel free to contact us. But those are just more examples of how prices go up in this inflationary environment that we're in, and with so many more people looking for residence and citizenship by investment to have their plan B. Don't stop now. We've got well over 1,000 more videos here on YouTube for you to watch and learn how to go where you're treated best. And if you want to work with Nomad Capitalist personally, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, learn about our unique, tried and true process, garnered over years of experience, and learn how you can become our client.